Now.
Hey Tim, it's
Hi.
time for our cheesecake adventure.
I'm very nervous about this. I've never actually baked anything in my life. I mean, I have used one of those packet bakes and just put it all in a thing in the oven, but that's cheating, isn't it? I mean, I've had to like do eggs and stuff for this, so I'm really worried
I know.
about this. And especially since Bake Off was, did you watch Bake Off last night?
Oh, I love Bake Off.
Oh, did you
It's
cry at the end?
incredible. Do I what?
Did you cry at the end?
I haven't seen last night's because I don't have a television, so I
Oh.
have to wait. Don't tell me who's won. I didn't hear if you said it.
No, I didn't say it. I didn't say it at all. I just said it was, after every Bake Off, they always show like the Bake Off bakers and how they've caught up since and what they've been doing. And all of that just seemed extra emotional this time because, so Paul and I were like,
Oh, I better get a stiff drink when I watch that then.
yeah, yeah. So Jenny, tell us about this recipe. Where is this recipe from? How did you
So
find
this is Angela Lansbury's own recipe for cheesecake, and she herself called it Jessica's cheesecake.
it?
So
Amazing.
yeah, the recipe is in this book. I don't know if you have a copy of this, the Murder She Wrote cookbook.
No, I don't.
Now, Tim, I looked this up on the internet just before, and the cheapest copy I can find of this for sale is £77 sterling.
Oh my God.
It is a rare book. So if you see one of these in a charity shop,
Pick it
I
up.
would say grab it.
Yeah.
It's great. It's got loads of recipes from stars and cast of Murder She Wrote.
Right.
But because this is so rare and so expensive, I am writing another Murder She Wrote cookbook for all the fangelas that will be a lot less expensive than £77. So yeah, it'll have recipes by Angela Lansbury, Ron Masak, Tom Bosley, all the big stars, and many, 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 many of the co-stars.
Right.
You've,
Right.
you've just did another of Angela's recipes for me, haven't you?
Yes, I have. I think it was from her Positive Moves book, actually.
Yeah,
It was very
yeah.
healthy and it was kind of a tomatoey pasta. So it was very, very basic and it was like lots of tomatoes and you reduce them down and that's kind of your bolognese sauce.
Yeah.
And it was very nice, but I think I suggested that it really needed to reduce down for a lot longer, like half an hour more or something. Because when we kind of had it, it was more like warm tomatoes mixed in. So I don't know quite.
That is why all the recipes are being tested for the book. Because
Yeah.
I want to make sure that when people make them, they
Yeah.
taste really good.
Yeah.
So there are still recipes available for testing. There's
Right.
going to be, at least 264 recipes because there's 264 episodes, isn't there?
There it is.
And the TV movies. So there's plenty for everyone. So
Right.
if anyone watching this wants to test something, come and have a
So,
look at the
so does that mean that there's some interesting Irish recipes in here? Is that a theme?
Gosh, yeah, there must be. I'm trying to think who's. Oh yeah, there's. Please excuse me, I don't know how to pronounce her name. Fiona.
Oh yeah, Fionnuala Flanagan.
Fionnuala Flanagan, yeah, because she's in, I think, 3 episodes, isn't
Yeah.
she? But her recipe's amazing.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's for a curry, and it's got chicken, if I remember rightly, chicken and lamb in it, which
Oh,
sounds really weird, but it is really good. But I know you're a vegetarian, so
yeah, that's all right.
not for you. But it was very, very good. Yeah, there's all kinds of things. There's a soda bread recipe. I can't remember whose that is, but there's that. Are you a fan of the Irish set episodes?
Well, yes and no. I haven't. I actually did one of them for the London Irish Centre as a kind of one-off. So I did a killing in Cork, which I'm sure you know. But the thing is, it was a bit of a bad choice actually. I felt compelled to do that one because it was like one of the first ones. But actually, Another Killing in Cork is a much better episode. But it was great fun. You know, we had Blarney Bingo on the table. So whenever something appeared that was a sort of nonsense that Hollywood or America always puts in TV shows or movies that's Irish, or that they think is Irish, you had to cross it off. So, and I did this at the London Irish Centre, and people said, you're crazy doing that. I said, no, look, you can't, you know, you have to go in, you know, you got to go in with your eyes open. They aren't terribly authentic, those episodes. Although, you know, as you and I both know, Dame Angela Lansbury has a house in Cork, and you know, she's got a strong connection. Her mother was Moyna McGill, who was an Irish actress. So, you know, yeah, there's a strong connection there. Yeah.
My favourite bit about the Irish episode are the variable accents.
Yeah, they really are.
Some people are really good at Irish accents, and some people aren't.
Yeah, they're really, really terrible. So
Angela's great, of course, but you know, some of the lesser, you know, the people with smaller parts, maybe not so much.
Absolutely terrible. Well, you know, they did an Australian episode, Southern Double Cross, which was yeah. Which
How are the accents of that? Variable.
Well, there were a few Aussies in there. There were a few Australian actors who were clearly over in LA trying to make it, you know. So there was some, Nick Tate was in it, and so there were some nice people, but of course their accents were completely over the top. They kind of really went for it. And there's a little boy who says, here comes a lady who got off the Brisbane bus. They get this little boy to do this line, who's about 8, who's just adorable. And it totally brought the house down. It was fantastic. But I mean, no one knows what Australia is. So that all of the stuff was like the sets, and the costumes and everything. It was all a bit like the Wild West, you know? That was kind of the closest.
Yeah.
That's the closest they could approximate it. And it's like, but Australia's like shopping malls, and, you know, it's suburbs, or it's the outback, which is really scary and amazing. So but it's not the Wild West. None of it is. So yeah. No. Anyway.
Cowboy hats and cowboy boots.
Yeah. Well, are we going to get cracking on this recipe?
Let's do it. We've only got 40 minutes.
Right. Okay. Yes. Right.
Right. So anyone who wants to cook along, you can always pause this as we're going along, and we're going to put the recipe in the YouTube box. So Tim and I have both got ahead of the game by making our cheesecake bases. Let's have a look at yours, Tim. Oh, look at that. That looks yummy.
Well, I wasn't sure if I crushed them enough. They're quite but that's okay.
That'll be fine. That'll be delicious.
Sorry, go ahead.
If anyone's cooking along, it's 1.5 cups or 150 grams of graham cracker crumbs, if you have those where you are, or crushed digestive biscuits. Do you have graham crackers in Australia?
Not really. No, we probably use a thing called a milk arrowroot biscuit, which is that
sounds very posh.
Yeah, well, it's not really. They're really bland, and I don't like. I often say, that, you know, that person or that dress or that movie or whatever is as plain as a milk arrowroot biscuit. And Paul, my husband, is like, what are you talking about? I use these for this. I use these.
Well, what did you use? Hobnobs?
No. I'm not posh, remember.
So, yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly the same as I did. Right. Yes, the best. McVitie's, they are the best digestives. So the base is that 2 tablespoons of sugar, caster sugar or granulated sugar mixed in, and then 4 tablespoons of melted butter. So then you mix all that together and you put it in your base. Right, so next step. Oh, everybody who's cooking along, you'll need to have your oven preheated to 350 degrees F if you're in the US, 175 C or gas mark 4. Right, your oven's on, isn't it, Tim? Are you ready to bake?
Yes.
I'm scared.
Right, what do I do first?
Honestly, it's easy. Right, so have you weighed out your cream cheese?
Yes.
So it's 310 grams of cream cheese. It's quite a lot. It's almost all of a big old, yeah, excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
So, and have you beaten 2 eggs?
Yes. So I've whisked like crazy.
Yeah, perfect.
That's,
now,
yeah.
you only want to add half of the eggs at first. It doesn't have to be exact.
Okay.
So just tip in half of your 2 beaten eggs. And the recipe says to use an electric whisk. I don't know if you have such a thing. I have, but it's very noisy.
I know, it's okay. I've got...
have you got an electric whisk?
No, but I have. I couldn't find one to buy today, but I do have this.
Oh yeah, that'll do. That'll do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would use that. You might find that your mixture looks like it's curdling, you know, but just keep going.
Okay.
I'm just going to use I'm using a spatula to mix mine together.
Right.
You just want to basically incorporate the eggs so that you don't see any runny egg bits. You're just mixing it all together.
Okay.
Make your nice.
This is truly
main
gross.
Part of your main part of your cheesecake. So this cheesecake is really quite easy to make, but it's interesting because it has 2 layers, as you will see. There's a cream cheese layer, and then there's a sour cream layer on the top. So look, mine's really incorporated already, and I didn't even need the electric whisk. How's yours going?
It's getting there, actually. I think I won't need it. It's getting there. It's really good. It's like, I'll show you.
Getting all smooth. Yeah, that looks great. That looks really good. So when you think you've sort of incorporated all your eggs and it's looking nice and creamy and yummy, the next step is to add your vanilla essence.
Right. I think it's incorporated. So how much do you add of that?
1.5 teaspoons.
Right.
So I've got a little half teaspoon measure that I'm going to use. You don't have to be, oh, you've got nice little measuring things. Very nice. So 1.5 teaspoons. Obviously it doesn't have to be exact, but that will make a really nice, sweet, tasty main part of your cheesecake. So again, just incorporate that all in slowly but surely. Is it smelling good?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that smell.
It smells really vanilla-y and lovely. Yeah. It smells great.
Yeah. Doesn't that smell nice?
Okay.
So once you've incorporated all your vanilla essence, the next step is to add part of the sugar. So not all the sugar.
Yeah.
So the total amount of sugar is 3/4 cup or 150 grams. And it goes separately in the main part and the topping. So in the main part is 1/2 cup or 100 grams. Right. So the larger of your 2 amounts, if you've weighed those out.
Yeah, so in the top part, it's 1/2 cup of sugar, is that right?
1/2 cup of sugar for the top part, yeah.
Oh, sorry, Jenny, so is what I'm working on now, is this the top part or this is the bottom part?
Yeah, sorry, this is the bottom part. This is the main part that goes in first on top of your
Okay, so the main part has 1/2 cup and the other part has like a whole cup.
Hang on a minute, let me check the recipe. I don't want to give you the wrong information, do I? Because then it would just be ruined.
It's 1/2 cup.
We actually add the vanilla and 1/2 cup of the sugar. Right. So that's 100 grams if you're doing metric measurements.
Got it already.
It's basically 2/3 of the whole amount of sugar. So you popping that in?
Yeah, great.
In that goes, and again, use your spatula or your wooden spoon, whatever you've got. I don't think you need an electric mixer for this. Now I'm doing it
No.
again. I think the first time I made it, I did, but I don't think you really need one. I think elbow grease is fine. So that's getting a bit runnier now, which is as it should be.
Yeah.
Once that's all incorporated and you feel like you've mixed that sugar in, mixed all the vanilla in, and it's looking a nice lemony yellow colour.
Yeah, it's definitely looking like that.
Yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, that looks gorgeous. So I think mine's more or less mixed. What about you?
It's making a bit of a gritty sound. Does that mean the sugar's not incorporated properly yet?
Have you used caster sugar or granulated sugar? That's a bit more grainy. That's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it might sound a bit like that, but I think it will be fine. I think the heat will melt it. So okay. I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm ready then, yeah.
So the next step is to pour all of that on top of your biscuit base.
Oh my God. Okay, here we go.
Don't panic. Don't panic. It's easy.
Okay.
So just gently pour it on top. Put it in the middle and it will just gradually spread itself out. So the reason I love a spatula is that you can get every little last bit of that yummy, vanilla-y, creamy stuff out of your bowl and into your biscuit.
Right. Okay.
How's that going?
It looks completely amazing.
Hey, see, you can bake.
It's like I'm just pushing it out to the edges.
Yeah, that's right. Flatten it out. I'm trying to get every last bit, although I'll obviously be licking the bowl when this is all when this is all over and no one can see me, of course.
Of course. Right.
So that's done. Yeah, so spread it out, as you say, evenly.
Yeah.
And what size tin did you get in the end?
9 inches.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's what Angela suggests. Now, mine is slightly smaller, 8.5, but that's fine. This makes quite a thin cheesecake. It's not like a massive cheesecake.
Yeah.
I actually like that because sometimes I find, you know, if you have a piece of cheesecake in a cafe when we were allowed to do such a thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're like really thick and massive and it's too much. But this is actually a bit more refined. And
I find that as I've gotten older, you know, it's a classic thing, isn't it, that my sweet tooth is diminishing a bit, you know, and I'm onto the dad chocolate. You know how when you like dark chocolate is dad chocolate, really. And when you're an adult, it's like milk chocolate, and when you're a kid, it's like white chocolate. Although I ate too many Milky Bar Kids when I was a kid, and I felt very sick, and it put me off white chocolate for a long time. But not having.
Did you look like the Milky Bar Kid when you were young?
I was very blonde. I was a really blonde child.
I got a feeling that you might look a bit like it. Did you want to be the Milky Bar Kid? Did you want to make money in TV adverts? Were you ever in a TV ad?
No, I kind of like, no, I didn't kind of discover my show-off side until much later, until like the last couple of years of high school. I kind of did a bit of a show-off, and then I did a bit of drama stuff, and then I left it. I just left it, the whole thing, which is a bit of a shame, until Murder, She Wrote happened back into my life. So,
well, look, I need to ask you a lot more about that, but we've got to get this in the oven, because now this bit goes in the oven for 20 minutes. So we'll put it in the oven, and then we'll make the topping bit, and then we can have a really good old chinwag. So
good idea.
Pop it in your oven. I'll put the timer on for 20 minutes. Oh, you've got a timer too. Very good. So, I want to ask you all about how you got into doing Murder She Wrote, solve along a Murder She Wrote. But while we're doing it,
Yep.
let's get the other bit of the pie ready.
Yes, great.
So
Right.
you should have your sour cream measured out.
Yeah.
And your sour cream is 2 cups or 480 grams.
Right. So I might just have to just wipe this bowl clean. I'm using the same bowl to mix up this bit. So give me
That's fine. I wouldn't bother wiping it. I think you can just
Really?
bung it in.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. Fine.
Okay.
Now, I of course have just realised
Yes.
that we've missed a bit.
Oh no, what did we miss? Is it bad?
The rest of the egg.
Oh.
Yeah, it is bad. The rest of the eggs.
Oh no, what do we do?
Take it out. Because we were chatting.
Oh no.
Don't worry, don't panic.
Okay.
I think, don't worry. Imagine you're on Bake Off and you've just realised this has happened. What we're going to do is we're going to let it cool down a bit.
Yeah.
Then we're going to add the eggs and very slowly stir them in. So wait till the tins cool down a bit. That was good, wasn't it?
Oh, it's great. No, I love it. This is what it's all about. It's good.
It will still work. It will still work. I guarantee it. Anyway, so your sour cream. Have you got that all in the bowl?
All right. Yes, I do.
Let's do that while we're waiting for the tin to cool down.
Yeah.
It's the perils of live cooking, isn't it?
Yeah. When we put this up on the screen, we might put a subtitle on the screen to say.
Yeah. Add the rest of your eggs in here.
Yes. Right. Okay, the sour cream's ready.
So the sour cream.
Yeah.
Basically, I know you couldn't get hold of any almond essence, but in Angela's version, she adds 2 teaspoons of almond extract to the sour cream. So you've got a vanilla layer and then you've got an almond layer. But I know you couldn't get any almond flavouring. So I would suggest 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla for the topping.
Okay, sure thing.
To make it slightly different.
Right, okay.
So I'm adding 2 teaspoons of almond extract to the topping.
Okay.
But I think vanilla is a stronger flavour than almond.
Yeah.
That's my hunch, anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, like I had the hunch about putting it in the oven before the rest of the eggs were in it.
Right.
Baking's not my strong point. So this almondy topping, I really love almonds. And when I made this the first time, I was just like, oh my God, I've never tasted cheesecake like it. And I just thought, Angela really knows how to make a cheesecake. So good.
Right, I'm mixing.
So yeah, mix your vanilla essence in. By the time we've done this, I think our tin will be cool enough. Yeah. We didn't leave it in there long enough for it to start baking, so it'll be fine.
No, it's going to be fine. This is going to be an amazing experiment in. I love it.
Right.
Yeah,
Cool. So what we need to do is incorporate this second egg gently. So just pour it in and very gently with a spoon or a spatula. And if you're cooking along with us and you did the same thing, gently, gently, gently. I mean, your biscuit biscuit base shouldn't really come to any harm because you've already baked it for 5 minutes.
It seems like it's holding its own.
Yeah. So yeah, slowly blend it in again. Your second egg. I was going to write it all out in really big letters, the instructions, but I didn't get time. So next time we do a cook-along, Tim, which I suggest we do at some point, I will be more prepared. Mine's taking a while, but it's almost there, I think. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, me too. It's getting there.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine. As long as it's incorporated. We might have invented a new technique. I think that's the thing with cooking. You know, you don't have to panic.
No.
You can usually rescue things, unless you burnt them, of course. But
this is great. I think mine's incorporated now.
Yeah, I think mine is too. Yeah. In the oven.
Yeah, I'm going to put it back
into the oven it goes.
Here we go.
Right, that goes in for 20 minutes.
I'll reset my timer.
Yeah, I'll put mine on as well. And now we can relax a bit. Whew!
Right.
Getting hot in the kitchen.
Right. I'm just going to stir this a bit more. I bought granulated sugar, so I'm just going to stir this a bit more while I'm talking to you, just to get it in there, I reckon. That's right.
Yeah. Oh, I'm hot and bothered now because of those eggs.
I think it's great. It's great. It'll be really funny. We'll put up a thing. We'll let people know, and it's all right. Everyone will understand, you know.
I'm just glad I noticed in time. You know, imagine if we baked the whole thing and then I was like, uh-oh, I've got a whole egg here. We rescued it. So, anyway, Tim, yes. So, tell me how you decided to do Solve Along a Murder, She Wrote, because it is so brilliant. I'm sure most people watching this will have been to one of your shows, and if they haven't, they have to go as soon as they possibly can.
Yes, as soon as possible, exactly. So I don't know, I always liked the show. I always thought it was fantastic, and I watched it when it was on TV when I was a teenager. And I was obsessed with Agatha Christie books, and I'd read pretty much all of them by the time I was like 14 or something. So it was like it was like Agatha Christie Weekly with this great person who was kind of a mixture of Miss Marple and Agatha Christie herself, really, which is what the writers said they wanted to do, actually. So, so I started, and then I don't know, it's the name popped into my head, really, like Solve Along a Murder, She Wrote, that occurred to me first, which I'm so grateful for, that I bloody thought of it. And then I had to try to work out how it was going to work. And my husband has been doing some events and putting on crazy club nights and things. So I just sort of, when I saw that he could do it and it was possible to just go and do this, I thought, I'll just try and come up with something, really. So, but before I got it, I kind of worked out how it could possibly work, because at first I thought it would be competitive, and that there would be teams of tables and people would try to work it out against each other. But of course that's kind of ridiculous, because the show has been on TV all the time, which I make a joke about every show. So, what do you do? But also, if you compare it to like an Agatha Christie book, it's not a fair comparison, like an Agatha Christie novel can be fiendishly complicated, actually, and whereas a Murder, She Wrote episode has got 47 minutes to create a world, create a whole set of suspects, create someone who gets accused of murder wrongly first, so all of this stuff has to happen, so there's usually only 2 or 3 clues each episode that really give it, that solve the whole thing. But actually the stuff that I really love about the show is myself, and according to my husband as well, is all the guest stars and knowing who all the guest stars are, and the lovely nostalgia of it, so that's when I came up with, and I don't want to say too much about what the show is, but that's how I came up with
Yeah.
the structure for the show with the fameometer and the suspiciometer and stuff. So yeah, but
That's why when I came to your show first, I was really amazed at all the stuff you did about all the co-stars. And I was really annoyed because you were throwing out prizes to people, asking questions about, what was this particular star famous for? And I was really pissed off with myself because I didn't know the answers to any of it. Because you were showing all these great clips. I can't remember now who it was initially. I can't remember. Anyway, and it was in the back of my head. I was thinking, oh, I know this. I'm a great show about old movie stars. But yeah. So, I loved it. It was so much fun. You can, it's great when you are a fan of something and then someone else is a fan of something. And then you go into a whole massive room full of people who are all fans of it. It's just so much fun. It's just joyful.
When a friend, thank you. When a friend of mine, I was telling a friend about doing it, he said to me, like, is there an audience for this? Like, he basically said quite rudely, he said, will anybody come to see this? And I was like, I said, I don't know. Like, I mean, when we first put it up, it sold out really fast, which was great. And it always sells really well. So people say, I like to think they come along for the name and they come again because of me and because of what the show is. They come out of curiosity and then they stay.
I love it. But,
what was I talking about? Like, the fans. Yeah,
was there an audience?
I didn't realise that. I really had to step up my game because although I was a really big fan of the show, towards the later seasons, I went to university. It went for 12 years. So I didn't watch. Many of the later seasons I didn't watch. So I had to catch up really because I knew that you'd meet people and I do that Cabot Cove quiz, and I was going, oh my god, these fangelers, as we now call them, fangelers, really know their stuff. So, and in fact, I had an interview with BBC Radio the other week, just to name drop and they gave me a quiz on air. They gave me a quiz about Murder, She Wrote.
That's naughty. How did you do?
I got all of them right, except, I'll tell you what, I'll give you the quiz, Jenny, and see how you go. See if I can remember.
Oh shit, no.
It'll be fun. You'll know, Jenny. You'll know it'll be fun. Okay, so what's
an easy one?
In what state of the USA is Cabot Cove?
Maine.
Yeah, see there, that was one of them. Who is the head of the police department in Cabot Cove?
At what point?
Yeah, that very good. I said the same thing. So,
Sheriff Tuppett era or Mort Metzger era?
Exactly. Very good. And the one question was, what's the B stand for in her name? What's JB? What's the B stand for?
Oh, it's Beatrice.
Very good. Do you know who it is? That's correct. Very good. And the other one this was the last one, which I got wrong. I couldn't remember. I didn't know. What's the name of the publishing house that published her first novel?
Oh, that's fiendishly difficult.
No.
That is very difficult. Yeah. No, I don't think I know that.
I didn't know either. It's Coventry House, but it was BBC Radio in Coventry, so they were like.
Oh, they picked up on that. That's cute.
It was cute. Oh. So thank God I got those questions right. It was like, oh my God, I hope I remember all of this.
They put you on the spot.
Yeah.
That's so cheeky. Yeah. Oh, is that available to listen to anywhere?
I'm not sure actually. I think it went out live a few weeks ago. I think. I mean, we don't want to talk about what's happening outside, but we did have a number of shows for November that were cancelled. So it was for one of those shows. But it'll all come back. There's lots of new venues happening for 2021. Let me tell you. So going out everywhere. So
great.
It's going to be great. So
yeah. And you know what? When people are able to do this, it's going to be even better.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, I've had to adapt the show a little bit anyway. Like I'm not throwing out prizes and people aren't shouting out. Like they're not allowed to do that, which is a bit of a shame. And there's no sing along at the end, but it still works pretty. It still works pretty well. So
does it? Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, people still got a big laugh at it. Sorry, Jenny. Go on.
Lots to enjoy still. Yeah.
Yeah. People didn't know what they were missing, I think, with the other stuff. So, you know.
Yeah, if they hadn't been before. So,
Yeah.
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 We have to adapt, don't we?
We do adapt and survive. And I just keep thinking, what would JB Fletcher do? You know? So,
Yeah, that's a good motto, if that's the right word for it. But yeah,
yeah, I
that's a
think,
good philosophy, isn't it? Think
yeah.
about that.
I
She'd
mean,
make the best of it.
yeah. I mean, when she was bedridden in the episode Crossed Up, as I'm sure you remember, you know, she was begrudgingly bedridden, but she did go to bed. You know, she doesn't like a fuss, JB Fletcher, does she? Like, she had a
Doesn't
sore
like
back
a
and she was like, "Oh, stop fussing after me," you know.
when I wrote the episode guide for that episode for the cookbook,
yeah,
I was making myself laugh because I was watching it. What I do is I write in bed. So I've got one of those little tables that you put your
amazing.
laptop on. So I was writing in bed and I had loads of books all around me. And then the episode, I think it starts like this, and Jessica's in bed and she's got loads of books and papers everywhere. I was like, I'm writing this in bed and I'm just like Jessica Fletcher. There's everywhere. I was like, oh God, this is brilliant.
So Jenny, why did you start writing your amazing silver screen cookbook? So where did that come? How did that come about?
Oh, well, I'm a trained film archivist. That's what I do for my day job.
Oh,
And years and years and years ago, I used to collect movie star postcards like Joan Crawford and Betty Davis and all that lot, the old ones.
Yeah.
And then one day I found this 1931 pamphlet. It's like a pamphlet, and it had loads of movie stars' favourite recipes with them wearing chef's hats and pretending to be cooking.
So
I thought, oh, this is great. And it was 12 quid. So I bought it. And then that started me collecting movie star recipes. So I'm a bit obsessed. I've been writing my blog for 15 years now.
Wow, fantastic.
So I experiment with the recipes. I cook the recipes and then I write about them. And I have published, I've published 2 cookbooks, a Joan Crawford cookbook, which I haven't got around the place, but yeah, Joan Crawford with about 30 of her favourite recipes. And 2 years ago, I think it was 2018, I published Cooking with Colombo, suppers with... Oh, look, you've got a coffee! Oh, God, I'm honoured.
Of course, darling.
And this has got recipes by Peter Falk and many of his brilliant co-stars, Vincent Price, Janet Leigh, William Shatner, the Nimoy, So they're episode guides and recipes. So the reason I'm now writing a Murder, She Wrote related cookbook is when I went and did a book launch in London, and then I was invited to do a book launch in Birmingham. And one of the people there, Gavin, said, oh, you should do a Murder, She Wrote cookbook. I was like, oh. What I didn't really think about is that Columbo's 69 episodes, books like this.
Yeah.
And as we know, Murder, She Wrote is 264, is it?
Yeah.
Plus TV movies. So it's taken me a long time. But I love Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah.
And so I just love watching it. And there's quite a lot of foodie stuff in it. I mean, Jessica obviously likes to bake. And
yes.
Sheriff...
who put the barbitals in Mrs. Fletcher's chowder.
That's my favourite episode. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant for foodies. Yeah. I love that episode. Yeah, there's lots of fun food stuff.
It's true. I mean, there's a whole episode at a cafe where the jam has been poisoned, and they have to trace where the jam went from table to table to work out.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah. I love them when they have those really quite complicated clues,
Yeah.
I've dressed all 80s today because whenever there's sequins at the beginning of the episode, I think, oh, this is going to be good. But one of the things I remember about the 80s is I worked as a receptionist in the 80s, and everyone wore really big earrings like this. And when you answered the phone, you always took your earring off like that, went, hello, da, 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 da. And there is a Murder, She Wrote. I can't remember which one it is now, but there is a Murder, She Wrote.
Where it's about the earring.
it's to do with somebody taking an earring off. I was like, yeah, that is a brilliant clue, because that's something you only really notice, if you notice stuff. Whoever wrote that episode must have been sitting somewhere and saw, so I go, hello, everybody.
Love it. It's really good. And I know that episode so well because they didn't even have to do Chekhov's gun. It didn't even have to focus very much on it. Like you could just, she just did it a few times. And you're right, it's one of those banal things that you don't, it's hiding in plain sight. It's great.
Yes, that's always great.
Yeah.
But I was talking to a friend about it, and I never try and work out who done it. And I think some people do. When I'm watching the episode, I am safe and secure in the knowledge that Jessica's going to explain at the end what happened. Because some of them are quite complicated, and I'm like, I've got no idea who did it this time. But that at the end, there's always an explanation.
I can remember giving my sister a copy of maybe, I don't know, she read an Agatha Christie book when I was in the middle of my Agatha Christie mania. And she I can remember her saying to me, oh yeah, it's such and such. Like she'd worked it out like halfway through, right? And my sister's she's really pragmatic, she's very, she's just a different personality to me. She gets things done. But she's sort of no nonsense in that way. So it was really, it was like, oh, that's interesting. Like I think out of the 84 Agatha Christie novels, I only solved one of them. There was only one. There was one where I definitely thought, I think I've worked this out. I think this is the clue. And then I was right in one. But the other ones, I'm with you. I really get a kick out of hearing the explanation. I like being fooled. Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah. You go, oh, right.
Yeah.
That's interesting, though, with the Agatha Christie, that the pleasure for you in reading those books wasn't to try and work out, or you didn't mind that you couldn't work it out.
No.
Someone with a different kind of brain would be really annoyed by that. They'd be like, I can't work this out. It doesn't make sense.
I mean, the good thing about Christie for those types of personalities as well is that she was always very, very strict in that the clues were always there. Like, how sometimes you watch a movie and suddenly something turns up at the very end, and I'm sure they never mentioned that before. And Murder, She Wrote's actually very good like that as well. They really, you don't often, they're pretty good with showing you what the clues are. Sometimes too good, as we always laugh about when the camera focuses in on a lamp and you go, well, that's got to be a clue, because why else would a camera? Do you think?
Interesting.
Maybe. So so it wasn't for her, but I really get a kick out of watching her solve it all. But the great thing is when you do these shows and you end up watching the same episode over and over and over and over again, it's you get an extra kick out of watching the clues get revealed and watching the audience, like seeing who picks up on it and who doesn't. So it's quite satisfying. And there's a Christmas one I've got. Hopefully we'll still be doing. Have you ever seen The Christmas Secret? Do you remember that episode? You must remember it. You've seen all of them, but
I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen that one for a while, though.
Yeah, I think it was season. I think it's 90. It's almost in the last season. I think season 11 actually. So it's quite near the end. But it's the only one set at Christmas, I think. And the nice thing is that the clue, and I'm not going to say what the clue is at all, but there is a clue in it that is kind of something to do with Christmas. So the writers do a very neat thing. So where they've made the clue something Christmassy, but I won't say.
Oh, nice.
So, and that doesn't give it away either when you watch it. You're still going to be pretty smart to pick up on that thing, but
Now I want to go away and watch it.
Oh, I'll do the Christmas one again sometime. So.
Oh definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my. I'm going to be self-isolating on my birthday because I want to go home to my folks at Christmas.
Right.
So I might watch it on my birthday because it's quite close to Christmas.
Yeah.
It might get me in the mood.
Yeah. How are we going?
Is there anyone? Oh, time. 1 minute 41 seconds.
Okay, all right, just checking.
Can you smell it yet?
Yeah,
It's smelling quite nice here.
Smells really nice.
You're baking, Tim. You're baking.
I can't believe it. I mean, it would feel like I was being like pretentious and baking so soon after Bake Off, but it just happened. We didn't plan this. We
didn't plan it.
Ago. So
we didn't plan it to fall on this particular day.
No. So,
were you pleased with who won? Don't tell me who it was, but was it your favourite?
I liked all three of them. So I know that sounds like a bit of a cheat, but I would have been quite happy if any of them won.
Okay.
But I wasn't necessarily that surprised by who won.
Okay, fine. Say no more.
But that's just my opinion, so it doesn't really spoil it because you don't know what my thoughts are until they are. So it's fine. But I thought, there was some interesting. It was an interesting year for Bake Off. I love the way they got things wrong. They all did terrible brownies.
Yeah, they did.
They all just messed things up. So it was very odd.
There were a lot of disasters.
Yeah, very strange. So, yeah.
Right. Get your oven ready.
Okay, all right.
So be careful. It'll be hot.
Okay.
Have you got something to put it on, like a wooden board?
I do. Actually, hang on. Here we go. There. I have. This.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh, that's my alarm. Okay. I've got some mitts on here. Right. Oh, that's falling down. Right.
How does it look?
It looks good. It's a bit brown around the outside edge. Is that supposed to be brown or not?
Yeah, mine's the same. The same.
Right.
I think that might be our double egg technique. It's fine. Right. We'll let it cool a tiny bit, and then we're going to spread the second layer on. And I think we'll give it like. Yeah, we turn the oven off when we put it in. So
okay.
It's a weird technique that I don't really understand, but I suppose some heat is retained in the oven.
Yeah, well, my oven all of the heat will be retained massively. So
you've got a nice hot oven.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really powerful.
Yeah, excellent.
So I'm going to just stir my. Are you pouring yours over yet?
No, I'm going to give it 2 minutes. I'm putting my timer on for 2 minutes just to cool it down slightly.
Right.
I don't want to sort of curdle the sour cream.
Well, while that happens, I've got a question for you. What's the worst recipe you've encountered out of all of them that you've had to really change or throw away that was just disgusting?
Well, in the Murder She Cooked book, or general.
Just in general.
In the Murder She Cookbook, there was a recipe for Kate Mulgrew's spinach meatloaf, I think it was called.
Okay.
And must have been a typo in the recipe, and it said something like, I think it said 2 ounces of breadcrumbs, and it should have been 12 ounces of breadcrumbs.
Right.
So that was like an example of a really bad typo that could wreck a recipe. So that's why they've got to be tested. And someone who was testing it basically got in touch with me and said, this doesn't seem right. And he was quite right. So that recipe's not going in the book. Swapping that one. The worst thing I ever made was Ginger Rogers butterscotch date pudding, which had tapioca in it. And it was disgusting. But on the whole, you know, especially old recipes, you look at them and you think, well, that doesn't sound like much on paper. And then you cook it and you're like, wow, that is delicious. All of Angela's recipes have been great.
Yeah.
I didn't test the one that's got oysters in it because I'm not a fan of oysters, but the person who tested it said it was really delicious.
Right.
So all of her recipes are good. And I tell you who else's recipes are good, and that is Ron Masak.
Oh, wow.
Who played Mort Metzger. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got several recipes of his, and they're all really good.
Great.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Right, now, careful of the tin because it will still be hot. But just gently spread that on.
Okay. Okay, here we go.
It's probably flattened down a little bit, your cheesecake, but that's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, all on?
Yeah, it's all on.
So pop it back in, and then as soon as you popped it back in, turn the oven off.
Right. Okay, here we go. In 4 minutes ready. Oven mitts.
Yeah, it'll still be hot. So oven is off. And I've done the timer for 4 minutes.
Right.
So this is a weird technique that I don't really understand, but it works.
Okay.
And who are we to ask questions?
Well, you don't question Angela Lansbury, do you? You don't question
you do not.
She knows what's going on. So
she knows what's what.
Yeah.
She definitely does.
So my next question is Amos Tupper or Mort Metzger? Who's your favourite sheriff?
That is a really tricky one because I do love Mort. He makes me laugh, especially like some of his facial expressions. And I love the way that when we first meet him, he isn't friends with Jessica yet because he just turns up out the blue, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And he thinks nothing ever happens in Cabot Cove. Ha ha. So yeah, I love the way their relationship develops, but I do love Amos because he's so greedy. He's always like turning up at Jessica's house and trying to get some food.
Oh, that episode when what are you cooking there? I'm not going to try and do a main accent. That's terrible. But you know when we discover that Doc Haslett is like a bit of a gourmet chef.
Yeah,
if it's Thursday, it must be Beverly. Has this little hilarious subplot where they're trying like exotic meals like calamari and
that's right, calamari and
escargot.
He doesn't know what it is, does he?
No,
he tastes it, and then and when they tell him it's calamari, he's not very happy. I mean, when they tell him it's squid, he's not very happy.
Yeah.
Have you got a favourite?
I really like Mort. Like I think he's a better character, and I think it's very cute. It was very important in the early seasons that the sheriff was an idiot, really, because they need to be quite stupid so that she could really solve it. So it's quite nice that Mort isn't intimidated by her and can stand up to her, but also understands that she's quite brilliant and is a resource. And they kind of end up being more of a team later on, which is quite nice.
Yeah, they do, don't they? They kind of team up and help all the time.
Tom Bosley got offered. He left because he got offered the Father. Oh my God, what are they called? The Father Dowling Mysteries.
Yeah.
So he got offered his own detective show where he gets to solve the crimes himself. And
I've never seen any of those. Are they any good?
Oh, they're okay. They're okay. Nothing compares to JB. I don't waste my time really. No, they're perfectly fine, and he's lovely in them. And for him as an actor as well, much more satisfying because he gets to solve the crimes. And Tom Bosley, Tom Bosley was like the patriarchal head in Happy Days. Like he's the he's a big star. You know, he was a big TV star. So Amos Tupper is a little bit of a downgrading for him, actually. So, and I was always a bit aware of that because I grew up with Happy Days, and I thought, oh, Tom, what are you doing playing this idiot? You know. So I think that's why I kind of like Mort more. But they're both lovely.
Yeah.
So
yeah. They are, aren't they? They are both lovely. There's lots of lovely characters in it.
Yeah,
and of course, Jessica Fletcher is just so gorgeous.
she's amazing.
She's just such a wonderful human being. I love her.
I mean, she's really open-minded. Like she likes travel and she likes seeing other things, but she also really appreciates the small town and gardening and the community. And all right, are we ready?
Yeah.
Take it out.
Take it out.
Let's take it out.
Take it out. Take it out.
Take it out. Oh, it looks it's sort of wobbly.
Yeah, mine is too. I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it will firm up in the fridge.
Yeah. So what's the next step? Do we put it in the fridge straight away, or do we leave it there how does it work?
I would leave it out for maybe like 20, 25 minutes, just so it cools down.
Yeah.
And then I would put it in the fridge with a bit of cling film on top, maybe.
Yeah. So take it out of the thing after 25 minutes? No.
I'd leave it in the tin, because I think it kind of will set as it gets cold.
Right.
So leave it to cool so that you're not putting it in the fridge hot. And then put a bit of cling film on when it's cooled down. Pop it in the fridge, and then we'll come back for a tasting ceremony.
Right. All right. Well,
we did it in the allotted time.
We did it, Jenny. We did it. Amazing. How lovely. All right. Well, I'll say my goodbyes, and then we'll come back at, say, 10:30, we think.
Yeah. Is that all right?
Yeah, it's going to be great. We'll edit it in together, and I can edit them together, and we can put a bit of music in and stuff, or whatever you want to do with it. It's all yours. It's your
Fantastic. So, I might be in my pajamas by then.
Me too. It's fine.
I wish I had Jessica Fletcher pajamas. Does anyone make them?
Oh, there's got. I would Google that straight away. I guarantee someone's made them somewhere for sure.
Right. I'm asking for some for Christmas.
Yeah, you should.
My husband.
Yeah. All right, lovely. Well,
Well done. You've done it.
We did it. I'll send you a new link, because if you send a new link, then it's a new episode, a new thing, and then we won't use up our 40 minutes, so we'll have an extra bit of time. So yeah. Great.
Groovy.
I'm so looking forward to tasting it.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. See you at 10:30.
10:30. Okay, bye. Bye.